And returning to the bombshell report that the Supreme Court may be on the verge of overturning Roe v. Wade. The landmark 1973 decision has guaranteed federal abortion rights for nearly 50 years. Now, tens of millions of women are at risk of losing that legal right. And joining us now is Sonia Ossorio, president of the National Organization for Women in New York. Sonia, thank you for being with us here tonight. This is a massive victory for the conservative right, and this is really one of those issues that is so divisive and that so many people are passionate about. What was your initial reaction to the leaked draft?
The time has arrived. I mean, we haven't been expecting this. This has been on the horizon. Now, New York, as part of our state conference back in November, one of our panels was preparing for a post-Roe America. That is where we are. This was on the horizon. I think what your viewers need to know first and foremost is that in New York, your right to abortion is safe. Reproductive rights activists and Governor Cuomo, we worked very hard on that. In 2019, we finally passed that after several years of hard work. And we did that in anticipation of this leaked document and what is ahead of us. Imminently soon, Roe v. Wade will be overturned here in the United States.
Yeah, and
it is the largest setback for women's rights in the history of this country.
You know, Sonia, and I wanted to talk about the immediate impact of this decision if Roe is overturned. We talked about the tri-state, but what does this mean for other states? It doesn't, just because this may be struck down, it doesn't necessarily mean that women will no longer be able to get abortions in other states. Can you talk more extensively about that?
Sure. So what is going to end is the federal protection to the right to abortion. Now that those decisions will rest in the state legislatures. What will happen immediately is 13 states will automatically ban or restrict the right to abortion because they already passed laws that would trigger automatic bans as soon as federal protections fell. So that's 13. There are at least half of the states within the next year will ban or severely restrict the right to abortion as well. We know that because of the makeup of their legislatures, their political makeup indicates that. Those are mostly Republican-led states, and they are in a rush now to seize the moment and moving towards that and are right behind these other states who, in anticipation of today, already put trigger laws in place.
So, Sonia, once this is officially overturned, we talked about sort of the states getting involved in this decision on what's actually legal or illegal. But let's talk about the real application. Could we now see, clinics shut down immediately once this is actually officially overturned?
Sure, they're going to shut down. But what you ought to know is there are a number of states where there is only one clinic to begin with. This has been an issue for years. It's been a death by 1,000 cuts in terms of restrictions on access to abortion. As it stands, women have to travel far to be able to seek the care that they need. The head of Whole Women's Health was on MSNBC last night, and she was talking about one of her patients who had left McGowan, Texas, with her family in a car to get to another one of their clinics in Alexandria, Virginia, had a procedure. They got back in the car, and the family drove that night so that they could get to work in the morning. That's the burden that is being placed on women and their families here in this country because our government wants to interfere with decisions that are deeply personal and private that they should not be involved in. But that's where we are.
Sonia, unfortunately, we've run out of time, but really quick, 5 seconds. If women are upset about this, what should they do?
If you're not registered to vote, you've got to do that. And I want to talk to the men that are listening. We need you by our side. Women do not get pregnant on their own. We need you to pick up this cause and stand with us and fight for our rights.
Sonia, thank you so much. Sonia Ossorio, president of the National Organization for Women in New York.